How to Steal a Dog, Chapter 9. That night, I dreamed Toby was a dog. He sat on the back seat beside me with his head stuck out the window, his ears flapping in the wind. We drove and drove and drove, and then we pulled into a long, winding road that led to a castle. Mama stopped the car in front of the giant front door of the castle and said, "Here's our new home." Toby the dog started crying and saying how he wanted to go back home where he belonged. And then I woke up. I peered down at Toby, curled up on the floor of the car, sucking his thumb. It was so hot, the windows were all steamed up. I rolled my window down. I rolled my window partway down. And then I leaned back and stared out the lit up sign of Bushy Creek Lutheran Church. I had gone to that church one time when I was little with my friend Racine Wickham. We had made May baskets, weaving strips of pink and yellow construction paper in and out, in and out. I had glued a pink pipe cleaner handle on mine and filled it with clover flowers for Mama. I remember how on the way home it excuse me. I remember how on the way home I'd been all squished in the back seat beside Racine's brother, and I'd clutched that May basket in my lap. I couldn't wait to give it to Mama, even though the clover flowers had wilted and were lying all droopy in the bottom of the basket. But when I got home, Mama and Daddy were yelling at each other and wouldn't even look at me when I tried to show them my May basket. Racine had moved away to Florida, and now here I was, back here at that very same church, sleeping in my car. Okay, remember this gap means that we have a setting change. When the sun came up, we headed over to the pancake house to wash up and get some toast. The bread we had in the milk crate in the trunk of the car had turned green with mold, and Mama had tossed it out the window right into the church parking lot. "I want pancakes," Toby said, frowning down at his toast. Mama sipped her coffee, squinted through the steam, and said, "No." "Why not?" Toby whined. Mama slammed the cup down, sloshing coffee onto the table. "Because you can't have everything you want," she said. I ate my toast and watched Mama scoop all the little plastic tubes of jelly into her purse. "Y'all go over to the Y after school and wait till I get there, okay?" she said. "The Y?" "Yes, Georgina, the Y." The Darby YMCA was nothing but a room in the basement of the town hall. Some kids went there after school to play games and stuff while their parents were at work. "We can't go there," I said. Mama sighed. "Just do like I say, Georgina." "But you have to sign up and stuff," I said. "You can't just go there. And I bet you have to pay." But Mama wouldn't even answer me. She counted out some coins, slapped them on the table, and headed out to the car, leaving me and Toby to scramble after her. Okay, another setting change. That day at school, all I could think about was how I was going to steal that little dog, Willie. While Mr. White read stuff about the Revolutionary War, I pulled my purple notebook out of my backpack and flipped to the How to Steal a Dog page. I read through what I had so far. Everything seemed pretty good, except for that problem about where to keep the dog after you steal him. I thought and thought about it, and then, just like a light bulb going on, I got an idea. I could keep Willie at the boarded up old house. There was a tiny little porch around back off the kitchen. It was kind of rotten and all, but a dog wouldn't care about that. And that house wasn't too far from Whitmore Road. I could walk that far, no problem. At last, I thought things were finally starting to look better. Okay, another setting change. At lunch, I asked Luann if me and Toby could go to her house after school. I didn't tell her we were supposed to go to the Y. I don't think so, Luann said. How come? Luann fiddled with a button on her shirt. I got some stuff to do, she said. Like what? She shrugged. Just some stuff with my mama. I twirled my spaghetti around and around on my fork and listened to the girls at our table going on and on about some movie they had all seen. Then Luann piped in and said how she had just loved that movie too. I kept on twirling my spaghetti and feeling more and more like I didn't want to be there at that lunch table. I wanted to float right up through the ceiling and out into the blue sky. I didn't belong there with those girls. I hadn't seen that movie. I couldn't buy those bracelets they all wore. They had been over at the mall while I'd been washing my underwear in the bathroom sink at Walgreens. So I just sat there twirling and thinking about Willie. After school, me and Toby walked over to the town hall. I'm not going down there, told him, nodding toward the basement window. You can if you want to, but I'm not. The sound of kids playing and balls bouncing drifted out the open window. Toby shook his head. Then I'm not going neither, he said. I tossed my backpack on a nearby bench. We've got to find some string or something, I said to Toby. For what? For Willie, remember? Oh. So we walked up and down the street, looking in gutters and dumpsters and trash cans. I was just about to give up when Toby hollered, Here's some, Georgina. I ran over to the curb where Toby was holding a stack of newspapers tied with heavy string. Yes! I pumped my fist and high-fived Toby. Good job! Toby just looked just pleased as punch. I untied the string and stuffed it into my pocket. Let's go back and wait for Mama, I said. It was nearly dark by the time we saw our car come sputtering up the street toward the town hall, leaving a trail of black smoke behind it. Black smoke. Is that a good thing? Do cars typically put out black smoke? No, it's not a good thing, and they don't typically do that, do they? Sorry, y'all, Mama said when we climbed in the back seat. We're starving, Toby said. I know, sweetheart, Mama said. I brought y'all some chicken. Toby dug through the bag in the front seat and pulled out a piece of greasy fried chicken. I got a job, Mama said. I took a piece of chicken and pulled the soggy skin off. Where? I said, dropping the chicken skin back in the bag. The coffee shop over by the hardware store. She glanced at herself in the rearview mirror. I wondered if she saw the same tired and worried face that I did. Well, that's good, I said. She took a swig out of a soda can. I guess so, she said, then pulled the car to the side of the road and stopped. What's the matter? I said. She shook her head. I'm just so darn tired of all this, she said. My stomach clumped up in a knot, and I wished I hadn't eaten that chicken. Why was Mama acting so sad? I needed her to act like everything was okay. Nobody said anything after that. We just sat there in the car, ta- in the car that was our home, crammed in with all our stuff. And the smell of the greasy fried chicken hovered in the still air around us. Mama broke the silence when she slapped her hands on the steering wheel and said, "Anyway, so now I'll be at work when y'all get out of school. So come on over to the coffee shop and wait in the car, okay?" I ran my dog stealing plans around inside my head. This would be perfect. The coffee shop wasn't far from Whitmore Road. I could grab Willie, hide him on the porch of the old house, and then get on back to the car. No problem. Mama wouldn't even know if me and Toby were there or not. That night, I fingered the string in my pocket and watched Mama helping Toby with his homework. They huddled together in the front seat with a flashlight propped up on the dashboard. Shadows danced around the ceiling as they worked. I pulled out my notebook and turned to How to Steal a Dog. I wrote April 14th. Then, beside that, step 4. Use this list to make sure you are ready to steal a dog. Number 1. Are you sure you have found the right dog? Yes or no? Number 2. Can you open the gate? Yes or no? Number 3. Do you have some rope or string? Yes or no? Number 4. Do you have a good place to keep the dog? Yes or no? I read through each one and put a check mark beside yes every time. After the list, I wrote, if you can check yes for every one, then you are ready to steal a dog. I thumped the pencil eraser against my teeth. Then I added, P.S. Remember that you have to wait until nobody is home at the house where the dog lives. P.P.S. Don't forget to take your string, rope, or leash. I closed the notebook and pushed it back down inside my trash bag. And when my guilty conscience started hollering at me, telling me I was doing the wrong thing, I pushed that down too. There was no doubt about it. I really, really was going to steal that dog. So she has a guilty conscience. Do you remember what kind of conflict we said that was? An internal conflict. So she's having a battle with herself. She knows that it's not right, but she thinks it's the only thing that it's her only option, doesn't she? Okay, we'll see what happens next. See you later.